welcome to another exciting episode of Suave and Sassy Seniors with Sonya. Listen, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad to be doing this show. This show was designed to highlight seniors as we live our best lives. Some people believe as seniors, as we age, we fade. But that is so not true. This is just when we're starting to do some amazing things. So on this show, I bring seniors from all different walks of life from all around the world. I have some amazing guests on here, and they're sharing their journey. You can learn a lot from people who've lived life. I learned so much working in long-term care facilities, even if I learned what not to do. So we put guests on the show that can tell you some of the amazing careers they've had, some of the things they're doing now, second careers. We talk about love and all sorts of things. I feel honored to be able to gift you all with wisdom. And at the end of each show, I ask my guests to give us a little nugget. I call it a golden nugget. Something that we can pack away, because something that I believe that our generations are missing now, and that's wisdom passed down through generations. So our guests leave some amazing nuggets. So today, I want to welcome a guest that I met on a plane. My friend told me anything will preach to you if you let it. And I was just sitting next to a man that I thought was pretty amazing, and we just struck up a conversation, and it went from there. And now he's a guest on the show, but he has an amazing life. He's done some amazing things. I never met a farmer until I met him. So welcome, Mr. Bruce Williams.
Hi, Sonya. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you, sir?
I am doing wonderful. It's just a beautiful day today, and you're talking about seniors. You're a youngster.
Well, listen, Google says that anybody over 50 is a senior, and I'm 50 plus too. But I'm super sexy with it, so I'm good. I'm good with 52. Hey, I'm feeling myself. So I love where I am. I love my journey, and I love my age. You know, Evangelist Schreiber said that if you're 11 years old and you're going to die at 12, that's old for you. And if you're 80 and you're going to die at 81, then that's old. So age is relative. Does that make sense?
I agree. You're still a youngster.
Well, listen, Bruce, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Well, right now I'm retired, and it's the best job I've ever had, actually. And I'm volunteering for several organizations. One of the organizations is Farmer to Farmer, and it is an organization that sends me all over the world, and I work with farmers to help them increase production or seed production or other types, vegetable production in some way or another. So I'm doing that. I'm also working with a group where I'm a medical courier, and I fly around and take needed supplies to people that are getting, transplants or blood transfusions, that sort of thing. And so that's that takes up most of my time. I farm a little bit on the side, and I'm a member of a couple of boards, and then I just drive my wife crazy the rest of the time.
So let me be clear. I'm sure you're not driving your wife crazy. I hope not. Well, listen, you volunteer. So one thing I want to bring out, you lived a life where you was able to set aside that you don't have to work during these times of your life, where you can volunteer your time. So one thing I want to do, I want to talk about both of those. So the first one I want to talk about is the farmer to farmer. So you travel around the country, around the world, and you teach different countries about seeding and soil and different things like that, because that's something that I didn't hear about. I've never heard of. So is that something that you're financing yourself, or someone's financing you? How does that work? Explain that to us.
It works through the United States Agency for International Development, and you can Google that, USAID, farmer to farmer, and it'll have a lot of web pages that tell you about that. But the farmer to farmer program is basically a program uh, of to help farmers around the world, and it sends agricultural experts, it sends farmers. I've worked with cheese makers, um, finance, agricultural finance people. You don't have to be a farmer to do the program. And we have volunteers. I mean, I know volunteers in their mid 80s that are still going overseas. And since 1995, have done approximately 60 assignments and visited 20 countries. So I've been all over the world, and they pay for all the expenses, you know, your travel expenses, and they give you a per diem there. And you usually spend about 10 to 12 business days on a site, and they work you. It's not a free vacation like you may think. It is, they work you quite hard. You're going around, you have to have seminars and meetings with groups and associations, and then you have to write up a report at the end. But it is one of the most rewarding volunteer efforts I've ever done. And it's just, I've worked with a group called CNFA, which is based out of Washington. You can look it up, cnfa.org. I've worked with winrock.org, acdivoca.org. All these groups work with farmer to farmer programs and work with sending people overseas. And many of those people, some of them are young people and some of them are seniors. So, but they're all people with that are willing to share their knowledge with other cultures.
Wow, that's amazing. And so they pay for your airfare and your room and board while you're there, but you don't get paid to go. So that's the part that's volunteer. But you don't have to pay out of your pocket for the airfare, different things like that.
No. You don't have to pay any out of pocket fees or anything like that. And you do have to go through a vetting process, of course, to make sure that you can deliver on what you say you can deliver on. And so, but I have a good friend who went over and who was in the, actually, she was a dental hygienist. And so, but she had a background in public health. So she did workshops on food safety. And so food safety is very, very important, especially when canning or preserving food, which most cultures do have food preservation. And so she worked with many of the women, the farmers' wives, and talked about food safety and, you know, botulism and salmonella and all the sort of things in food preparation that you need to be aware of. And she just had a wonderful time. And so her husband wasn't real happy that I talked her into it, but she just loved it. And she's been on several volunteer assignments since. And so, you know, she is a food safety thing. Her profession, she took what she knew and was able to use it.
Wow. That is amazing. I love that. So so you are a farmer by career. So
correct.
What type of farming do you do? Is it animals or vegetables or a combination of all?
Well, I spent my career in agriculture. I was a professional agronomist and worked with different crops, mainly vegetables in the last 20 years, but checking soils and soil fertility and looking at diseases and what pesticides work and what doesn't work. And in the process, I grew up working on a farm. My grandfather was a dairy farmer and tobacco farmer in Southside, Virginia. And I've always loved agriculture and spent my life in agriculture. And then the last 20 years, I have my own farms, and I have some cows out there, and we raise some trees, some timber, and grow some sweet potatoes some years, and tobacco occasionally. And this year we're doing soybeans, and it's been mainly hay and soybeans this year. So I try to keep my fingers in the soil, so to speak, and stay grounded with all this stuff. And but it's just, I love gardening and growing things, and all living things. I enjoy that aspect of it.
And Mr. Bruce, so you also said that you do volunteer when you transport medical. I know you can't talk about that a lot, but I just wanted to say, just it seems as if you worked the earlier part of your life. Now you're just giving back. You're giving back. Right. You're giving back, and that's called reciprocity. And I think that's what makes us successful. And that's what, as a human being, that's what I would like to do. You know, I would like to be able to give back to people. You're giving back to other countries, and you're giving back. You're saving lives with the other thing that you volunteer on, where you're taking medical equipment and medical materials. You're volunteering that time, and I think that's a blessed part of just being able to live a longer life, when you're able to volunteer your time and give back to others. Because what does it gain if you gain so much and just keep it to yourself? A hand open can receive and give at the same time. You know, if you're always giving, you're always receiving. And that's just, to me, that's the circle of life. What do you think about that?
Well, volunteering, I don't really think about it as I'm giving something. I think about it as I'm growing. When you volunteer, you grow as a person. And I figure when you stop growing, you're going to die. And so when I volunteer, I find that I learn so much information. I learn from other people. I learn about other foods. When I do the medical courier thing, I'm visiting new places. I visited a city this summer on one of the medical courier trips, Indianapolis, and I'd never been to Indianapolis, and I was really impressed by Indianapolis. It was a lovely town, and I got to see it. I met some really wonderful people. I got to meet you on one of my trips. So if you aren't growing and helping people, then you aren't living and you aren't going anywhere. You're going to be dying. So you got to keep moving forward. And I think volunteering and working with people helps me constantly move forward. So I see it as self-surviving, or as survival. And at the same time, if you get to help people, that's great. But it's just a wonderful thing to keep growing. And I'm trying to grow up and in character and not out. And so that's the old
up in character. That's good.
So anyway, but the volunteering, I would encourage everybody, if you're retired, to look at volunteering. And I mean volunteering at a local arboretum or botanical garden. I tend to like living plants and working around plants, but libraries, any kind of volunteering. Now, the Red Cross is a great opportunity for volunteering. So, and there's a million opportunities to volunteer in every community. And besides the wonderful things you do volunteering, I mean, you grow, and it keeps you vigorous. It keeps your mind going and your body going. And, if you don't stay moving, like farm equipment that's not used rusts. And if it rusts, it's not going to be used much at all, very long. It's going to break. And so I think the same is true about humans. We've got to be constantly moving and use our brains and our bodies, and that'll keep us as young as we can be.
That's amazing advice. Now, I know that was an amazing nugget that you just dropped, but that was great. That was great. Because if you don't move, if you just sit dormant, you're going to rust like a tractor and then you won't be able to be used anymore. So keep moving, volunteering, and giving and living. That's a part of life. But we always ask guests on our show to give us a golden nugget. We need you to leave something for the next generation. So give us a nugget of wisdom that has
All
carried you
righty.
through.
Keep adventure in life and keep moving. There's always a new adventure, and keep the adventure and the newness in life. And I think as long as you keep that, the adventure and newness, you'll keep moving forward. And if you move forward, you aren't going to rust. And I think that is the best nugget I can leave is think positive, move forward, keep moving.
Keep moving. Thank you, Mr. Bruce, for being a guest on the Suave and Sassy Senior Show. And where I encourage you to stay safe and stay courageous. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonya.